All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
We're ready, right? All right, the question is, are you all ready? Yes? All right, well, let's get this amazing day started off. Well, good morning. I'm Cincinnati Murphy. I'm from the Kroger Company. I have an awesome opportunity to be a member of our people leadership team, where I have the opportunity to support training, leadership development, and performance. And we are here with 4 amazing leaders from 2 great companies. And I'd love to just tell you a little bit about those leaders before we get started, if that's okay. We're going to start with our friends from Procter & Gamble, if that sounds all right. So we're welcomed with Jen Davis. Jen, welcome to the panel today. A little bit about Jen. In her role, Jen is the Chief Executive Officer of Healthcare. She leads P&G's global healthcare business, which encompasses the company's oral care and personal healthcare businesses, and makes up 13% of P&G's net sales. This includes a portfolio of billion-dollar-plus properties under Crest, Oral-B, and Vicks. Those are amazing brands.
Thank you. We love them.
We do too. Consumer health is among the largest industries in which P&G competes, with retail sales exceeding $320 billion and elevated consumer interest in self-care and wellness. Jen joined Procter & Gamble in 1993 with over 20 years of sales management experience, leading P&G's global Costco business, where she accelerated growth through innovation and external partnerships. She subsequently led the U.S. market strategy and planning organization for the beauty, healthcare, oral care, and grooming categories. One of Jen's core beliefs is that anything is possible with a diverse team and an inclusive culture. She is active both personally and professionally in the pursuit of racial and gender equality. Beyond her responsibilities leading healthcare, Jennifer also serves as executive sponsor of P&G's U.S. Hispanic Network. Jen holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science from Princeton University. Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Thanks so much.
Next, we have Monica. Welcome, Monica. Monica is the president of North America for P&G. In her role, Monica leads the company's largest and most profitable region, which accounts for 50% of net sales. Her organization serves 370 million consumers in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico, spanning sales offices, technical centers, manufacturing plants, and mixing centers across the region. Monica joined P&G in 1987, progressing in sales, strategy, and planning roles, and making a significant impact across categories, channels, and customers. Her expertise in innovating to accelerate growth across business models, building winning plans for P&G and its retail partners, and driving growth mindset culture are hallmarks of her leadership. Monica is also known for her passionate leadership of equality and inclusion within the company, the CPG industry, and the community. She serves on P&G's corporate women's leadership team and is the executive leader of the Global African Ancestry Leadership Network. She is on the board of directors for Allstate and the Consumer Brands Association, and on the board of trustees at the University of Cincinnati. Monica has been recognized as one of the top 100 most influential women in corporate America, and as a woman of excellence by the National Association of Female Executives. She has also received the Visionary Leadership Award from Working Mothers magazine. Welcome, Monica. We're glad to have you. Well, you already heard a little bit from her, but we're excited to welcome Mary Ellen Adcock. Mary Ellen is our Senior Vice President of Operations for the Kroger Company. In her role, she leads 22 grocery retail divisions comprised of 2,800 stores across 35 states, supporting nearly 500,000 associates who serve more than 11 million customers each and every day. In her role, she drives the strategic direction for the customer experience, associate experience, asset protection, process change, and productivity improvement initiatives. Mary Ellen joined Kroger in 1999 in our company's manufacturing division, and has held various leadership roles across her career, including Vice President of Natural Foods, Vice President of Operations and Merchandising in our Columbus division, and Group Vice President of Retail Operations. Mary Ellen is a member of the Board of Trustees for the Cincinnati Museum Center and Mount St. Joseph University, and is a graduate of Vanderbilt University with her bachelor's in human and organizational development, and she also earned her MBA at the University of Colorado. Mary Ellen, welcome, and thank you for your time today. And last but certainly not least, we have Tim Massa, who is our SVP and Chief People Officer at the Kroger Company. In Tim's role, he leads all of human resources, labor relations, corporate affairs, associate communications, and shared services. Tim joined Kroger in 2010 as the Vice President of Talent Development and was later promoted to Group Vice President of Human Resources and Labor Relations before becoming our Chief People Officer in 2015. Prior to joining the company, he served in several HR leadership positions for over 21 years at Procter & Gamble. Tim has an extensive global HR generalist background in leadership development, succession planning, performance management, strategy development, employee communications, culture, engagement, and change management. Tim is on the board of directors for both the Society of Human Resources Management, SHRM, and the National American Human Resources Policy Association. He also is a member of the Center of Executive Succession Advisory Board of the University of South Carolina, Darla Moore School of Business. And then just this year, we're so proud and thrilled for Tim, he was named a member of the National Academy of Human Resources Fellow. Congratulations, Tim. Tim is a Cincinnatian by heart and all his time, and he serves in so many community involvement organizations. He serves on the American Cancer Society Cincinnati chapter as the executive committee, and was a 2021 American Cancer Society Cincinnati chapter honoree. Tim earned a bachelor's degree in marketing and communication from the University of Dayton. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you. All right, so this is an awesome group of leaders, right? Well, you can tell from their extensive background, experience, and leadership, we are in for a treat over the next hour, so let's get started. Jen, our first question is for you. So you recently celebrated 2 years as P&G's healthcare CEO after leading P&G's global feminine care business. Your career has been varied with roles in sales and market strategy and planning in categories such as beauty, healthcare, oral care, and grooming. So tell us about, you have just a super impressive educational background. What took you from Princeton to P&G? Like, how did your career evolve? And just tell us a little bit about that amazing journey.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for the opportunity to be here and participate in what an awesome program. So, listen, it was never my plan to be sitting here today. This was not my career goal. In fact, I would tell you, neither of my parents worked in the business world. So I didn't have a role model for what a career would look like or how to plan for one. My father was a school teacher and an high school athletic coach. So like the family business was school and sports. That's what I knew, it's what I understood, it's what I loved growing up. So when I was approaching my senior year of college, I was planning to pursue a career in academics. That's what I really wanted to do. But I did need a good summer job. And, I walked into the career services office and saw it was the last day of interviewing for a company called Procter & Gamble. I went into that interview not even knowing what P&G was. Now that would never happen today, but there was no phone in my pocket to look it up or to learn what is P&G sales. But I got this internship to go into grocery stores in the New York market and try to influence, Tim and Monica remember this, what the shelves looked like for the P&G products or the displays. And I had a great summer. I met amazing people. It was fun and interesting. And when I got the full-time offer, I thought, I have a lot of student loans. So maybe I'll just take the job for a couple of years and then go back to grad school. And I wanted to be a professor. Well, 31 years later, here I am. And the reason is because I got to keep doing what I loved, which was learning. I love to learn and be part of amazing teams, taking on big, challenging opportunities. That's why I'm here. And I'd say, Sensual, for the first half of my career, I wasn't striving to an outcome. I wanted to do the best I could, but I was navigating the life stages of a partner coming into my life, Then we were having children, and so I had to manage these different things. And what I did in the first half of my career at times was slow down, actually, not take the obvious next role that back then was like, you need to go from this box to that box to get to the next box. And we couldn't relocate for a period of time out of Cincinnati. We were here, and I was really okay staying where I was if that slowed me down. Now what happened at the time, I was working representing the sales function within a category business team that had people from finance and market research and product supply. So I spent a lot of years in and around people who did different roles than I did. And when I slowed down, I actually was able to develop mastery at the job I was in. And I became sufficient enough at it that I could then take on different growth and leadership opportunities that took me a bit out of my domain. Now, I did end up getting to the next job, even though I didn't take the relocation for the big retailer that's not located in Cincinnati, but is further south. And we won't name it. I stayed here, I spent more time with Kroger. And you know, what I realized many years later, when I was offered the opportunity to move out of sales and into a category general management role, I had a very unique set of experiences because of the years I slowed down. I never could have anticipated that it would lead to that. I just wanted to do the best job I could and learn. But later on, it actually sped me up. So what I would say is, if you know right now the big goal you're going for, fantastic, okay? That's great. But I'd encourage two things. Get very clear on what's most important to you personally. Define those requirements, share those requirements with your manager, with your mentor, with the people around you, and then make the most of the business opportunities that fit those needs. There might be periods where it's highly, vertical learning curve, and there may be other periods where you find different ways to learn. But don't define the path too narrowly, because you probably can't see every possibility today or how things may evolve. Focus on having a big impact. Focus on learning everything you can, and focus on making the people in the organization around you better, turning and pulling as you're going along on that journey, and many possibilities will likely unfold for you.
Wow, that was an awesome testament of career, wasn't it? Well, that's wrapping us up. But Jen, I think that's a testament of, there's not a one-size-fits-all career. And, when you just said that the recap at the end of adding value, investing in people, and learning, just such a testament of the journey we all go on in our career. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, Monica was my manager for a period of that time.
Monica.
And, you learn these philosophies. You have role models. You see people that are going through the same thing you do. And that is so meaningful in that journey.
So well said. Monica, thanks for the mentorship. And Jen, it's paying dividends.
It was easy.
It was easy. I love that. All right. Well, Tim, next question is for you. You've had a just phenomenal career across two awesome organizations, both in the CPG and retail side of our industry. Looking at the different companies and the roles that you've had, how did you know where you wanted to go with your career? How did you know when to take a move, when to transition organizations? Would you share some insights there?
Yeah, first off, I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be in this room with all these remarkable women. So, I went to the University of Dayton. I did grow up here in Cincinnati, but I joined P&G right out of college. I did know what P&G stood for. I didn't have a phone, but I grew up here. I knew what they were. I was a DJ. I wanted to be like a professional, either newscaster or an entertainer. I really wanted to do that, and I had a music shift on a professional station in college from midnight to 6 a.m. 3 days a week. Yeah. So I was monikered Midnight Massa, and that sticks today. And I would sleep from 6 to noon and go to classes in the afternoon. So I thought, I'm going to turn this into something. And then my summer internship, unlike Jen's, was woeful, trying to make anything. Talk about thin margins in the disc jockey business. You don't make any money. So I got out of that. But I had 13 interviews with Procter & Gamble back in 1989. And I joined in Charlotte, North Carolina. So while I am a Cincinnatian, I was the poster child for the acronym of Pack and Go in P&G. I moved 9 times with my beautiful wife Lisa and 2 daughters. My daughters don't remember half the moves because they weren't born or they were very little. And Lisa had jobs, and she was in accounting and worked in banking for most of those. And I had the ability to go overseas and live in Poland in Central Europe as part of the 21 years. Through it all, I started in HR in Charlotte when there was no HR function. I supported sales and marketing folks. And I early on got to know this young lady to my right. Everything is like 7 degrees of Monica Turner here. And Monica and I worked together as well. But I knew in the various roles that I had, I was doing personnel type work, and I liked connecting people to opportunities. And everyone wanted me to go into sales and merchandising and operation type roles, but I always liked working with leaders on their strategy, on their design, and figuring out how to put the right person in the right role. And that morphed into a function. And I worked for awesome leaders. And there was a time, what I always was blessed with for 21 years at P&G is they created an environment to network and to learn from others. And you learn from senior folks that were 30, 40 years with the company, as well as your peer group. And some of my best mentors were women. I will always hold my mother and my sisters and my wife and my daughters as role models, but it was folks like Monica, it was folks like Beverly Grant, Barb Hartman, Maria Edelson, Elaine Angelis. These names don't mean a lot to you other than Monica, but they were ahead of their time. They were pioneers, and they had empathy, and they also had a business sense. They had both a passion for business and for people, and I learned a lot from them. And I never thought I'd leave P&G, and I had an opportunity to go to Singapore with P&G for our 10th move. And my oldest daughter was going into high school, and my parents were aging and failing health. And I said no to that opportunity. And I knew then, with where I wanted to go to really lead the people function for Procter & Gamble, that was going to set me back. And I was okay with that. And it took my former HR officer at P&G to connect me with the HR officer at Kroger, probably the best HR professional in the industry, Katie Barkley, who came from General Motors. And I made the decision, incredible decision, to leave and come to Kroger back 14 years ago, and created that platform of that passion of helping people and connecting people. Kroger needed help in their people strategy to take it to the next level, and I was really in the right place at the right time. But it was really through a connection of leaders both at P&G and Kroger to help make that happen. Senchal talked about this fellow award, which is, I'm very honored and humbled to get that award, but it was nominated by Dick Antoine from P&G and Katie Barkley from Kroger. I mean, that says a lot. That says you didn't burn bridges, you left, you kept your eyes open for opportunities. And I really admire what Jen said, especially in today's environment. It is such a cross-functional, yes, there are critical things that we have to do in finance and in certain functions across any industry. But more and more today is find skills and capabilities you're good at and really be part of a cross-functional team. Our chairman and CEO, Rodney McMullen, always says, you get nothing done alone. If you're in a room with all the same function, the same people, you're going to sub-optimize the outcome and the opportunity. So the world is your oyster, and the more you can take skills and capabilities and network with others, learn from others, I think that'll really set you into an incredible future, personally as well as professionally.
Awesome. Great advice. Thank you so much, Tim. All right, Monica, next question is for you. As the president of P&G's North America business, you were instrumental in accelerating your company's growth. You declared growing in the high single digits in a mature market was possible. What gave you confidence in the outlook of your company's performance?
Thank you so much. And it's so good to see all of you. So thank you for deciding to attend and really engage. I think that sets you apart just from being here. So it's good to see all of you. You know, I had this wonderful opportunity to be here in North America. And I had, like Jen and Tim, I had had a long career in this market. And I think that as I thought about what would it take as I got to this stage of my career, I think I was built for it in many ways because of the businesses that I had the opportunity to run. And so I think those early experiences, just as you heard from others, really made me into the leader I am today. And I always characterize myself as a possibilities leader. I actually don't believe in the negative. I believe that all things are possible. And it's played itself out that way, I think, in the assignments that I had the opportunity to be a part of or to lead. In many of those assignments, nobody expected much out of those businesses. And so I was able to be my most innovative. And what I found is in those businesses where nobody expected it to grow, that we were able to have a committed group of people come together and think of something that didn't exist and make it possible. And we were able to do that multiple times. So by the time I got into this opportunity, and we were looking for what it would take in order for us to win in this market and serve the 370 million consumers that we have in a way that actually enables them to be delighted, we were able to identify what would be the vision for us to truly do that well. And if you were able to deliver on that vision, it actually had a wealth of possibilities. And so it comes back to that possibilities mindset. What does it take to bring those possibilities to life? And so I think Tim said it really well. You're not doing it by yourself. It's a group of committed individuals who are all looking for how do we make this the best region for P&G. And so I would say, first and foremost, experiences matter. Those experiences, you don't know it at the time, are forming who you are. And that's why I say I was built for it, because I was always given opportunities that weren't supposed to materialize into much. But then with a group of committed people, we thought about what would be the possibilities. And if we could do that, wouldn't that make it just transformational? And so I already believe that. The group of committed individuals believe that. So I would actually tell you that in a mature market that had slow growth for many, many years, the group of people in P&G across the board were able to, and that's inclusive of Jen and others, were able to really think about that possibility in a way that actually allowed us to not only envision it, but declare it and then make it happen. So my big advice is have a possibility mindset.
I just love that possibility mindset. Think about half glass full in your approach and how that's unlocked a generation of leaders at P&G. Thank you so much. That's phenomenal advice. Thank you. All right, Mary Ellen, you have had an amazing career across our organization, and you've served in so many different roles and capacities. Could you share with us a little bit more around what provided you career clarity on really what you wanted to do in the organization and how you can add the most value?
Well, thanks for that. And I think Monica's point around experiences matter is really well said. And from my view and my experience is that embracing the experience and embracing the journey is what's most important. Because when you are open-minded about what's possible and what can be, then that's actually when opportunities unfold that you may or may not expect. And that's what makes it exciting, is to be open, especially to the ones that you don't expect. So a couple of things for me is I started out in human resources, which was actually a wonderful foundation because everything we do is about people and teams. And then I'm also a very big believer and advocate about education, because that's for you, that's for your own mindset, that's for your own development. So I did go back and get my MBA while working, and then that's when I really found my passion for operations. And I did know after that that I wanted to be in a business line. So that's when I transitioned over to operations. And I share that to say that you can make changes. And that's also part of the journey, is find what excites you, find what your passion is, find what you want to do. And if you're in an element that doesn't excite you, you can make a change and let people know something that you're interested in. So have those conversations. As you said, talk to your leaders, talk to others about what you want to do or not. So I did know that I wanted to be in a line of business. That's why I went back to get my MBA, which was very beneficial. Then on the other side, then I was also in manufacturing, which working in different parts of the business is also important. Back to having different experiences. The better you understand the full 360 view, the better it does help you relate and working in collaborative opportunities. So I was in manufacturing, and I worked really closely with the merchandising, because in the area that I was, we were 50% in deli bakery of the merchandising's profit. And so I share that because the other part that I think is really important is do the absolute best in the role that you're in, and be the best business partner you can, and be as collaborative and learn as much as you can from others and contribute, because that actually helps give you strength and to be a good contributor, and then that gives you the experiences for potential opportunities. Because out of that, then I was recommended to interview to move over from manufacturing into merchandising, to lead Natural Foods and lead Simple Truth, which I had no experience in merchandising. But because that I had worked so hard as a business partner, just to be a good business partner and learned, then I was recommended and invited to that opportunity. And so I share that because that was completely unexpected, never would have thought that, and it was also a big risk. So I'd also say that be open to risks, because those can be the most rewarding, because that was actually one of my favorite jobs and one of the best experiences. It was a fast-growing business. Being in merchandising is super exciting, being in the sales and working with P&G and all these great companies. And then that opened the door to other opportunities to go out to the division, go out to the field. We've moved 7 times, which you don't have to do. That also is a choice both ways. For my family, that worked because we went to the opportunity, but it is important to be on the same page with your family. That's a lesson I wish I would have learned a little earlier. We had a few tense moments at times about moves, so be on the same page with your family. And so just my perspective with that is be open to the opportunity, know what excites you, but then do the best you can and be the best you can be in the role that you're in, because that really is what makes the difference.
So well said, Mary Ellen, thank you. And Tim often reminds us that it's important to bloom where you're planted and to find value and expertise in the role you have, to be the best that you can. And you're a great example of doing that, and also diversifying your career. It's okay to do different things, to find your passion. At certain points in your career, you have to figure that out and discover that. So thank you for sharing your journey and your story with us. All right, Jen, another question for you. So when we're early in our careers, I think as leaders of others, we might think it's important to know all the things, all the answers. I think when we mature in our leadership, we realize that's the least important. It's most important to build a team, create relationships and connections, to grow and develop ourselves and those around us. So tell us a little bit about your journey of leadership and how you've grown a high-performing team.
I think you really hit on something. There's a transition, I think, in your career when you go from recognizing it's my job to know, to have the facts, to be able to answer the question. I can remember management reviews where we prepared enormous binders, right? Thinking about every piece of data we might get asked about. And what I've learned over time, and as I think your scope grows, it becomes impossible to know every answer. And it doesn't even really matter so much. I mean, today, data and information is available to everyone everywhere. I don't think the competitive advantage is in knowing. It's in generating the insights out of the data that you have access to. And that requires knowing what questions to ask. And I think this is part of what is really required to lead high-performing teams. You're going to have experts in and around you who probably know more than you do in a certain area, drawing that out, pulling on the expertise, and actually even in moments of disagreement about questions, that is the most fertile ground for big insights, big breakthrough solutions, the kind of things that Monica was referencing of how are we going to do something no one ever achieved before. You can't have one line of thinking, one set of facts. Facts are always about the present or the past. They are never the future. So we really have to get comfortable thinking about what would be required to do whatever it is, your business, whether you're a large company or you're an entrepreneur starting something up. You're betting on a future. So that is the work, I think, of leaders today and of building teams. And I had to learn that through stages of my career where I got very uncomfortable with not knowing. And I can think of 3 times in my career earlier where I went from comfort and mastery, knowing what I was doing, always feeling confident, to realizing I am out of my league and I may or may not know what I'm doing right now. But those moments, maybe when I first left field sales to come work in Cincinnati in the big headquarters, or when I reached the life stage where we said we're ready to go move, and we moved to Seattle, and I managed the top-to-top relationship with Costco, who had a very different business model, and the stakes were often high. And I had to figure out, how do I manage risks where there's no certainty that the item is going to exist in their building next week. This required me to build an entirely different set of skills and realize I didn't have to be the absolute sales master. I had 10 people on the team who all had 25 years working directly with retailers, but I had to figure out how to bring the best of P&G and my customer together to create new possibilities. So that's sort of been my learning all the way through, is don't be obsessed with about knowing, but be incredibly curious. And keep asking for your customer, whomever you're serving, how could I serve them better, such that I could realize the goals that I want. And that's going to take you down a path of questions and learning and tapping into people around you and building the skill set for your team to explore those in a way that's constructive.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. Thank you, Jen. And really, I took so much from that personally, but also think about how you just articulated the evolution of your own leadership, and it's never stopped, right? So I think that's an important takeaway for all of us, that leadership matters, and how you continue to keep accelerating your point of view and your impact is critical to your organization, your business. Thank you, Jen. All right, Tim. Do you have your mic? You ready? Okay. Ready? Okay. I am so appreciative of your advocacy for women in our organization, and you have been an ally to women in so many different ways, especially our women of color throughout your career. Your sponsorship of others has included advancing associate resource groups, including our EDGE ARG, and advocating for female advancement into executive level roles. What do you look for in associates leaders that you choose to advocate for? And what does an impactful sponsorship relationship look like or mean?
Well, thank you. I look for individuals, women and men, who have a passion for finding a higher purpose. You connect with a purpose. That individuals want to make a difference. That you want to seek to learn and have a two-way dialogue. When you think about impactful sponsorship, it's, I'm sponsoring someone even when that person's not in the room. And my goal is to actually throw a pebble in the water and have ripples, and I want to create more sponsors of that individual who don't know that person or need to get to know that person. So how can you, I really try to take a mindset and try to coach in leaders of others. Any leader of other should be an advocate and an ambassador for the people they serve and they work with. That's job one. And Jen's talked about the journey and evolution of leadership. It comes a time where whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're working in a business, corporation, etc., it's not about you. It feels like it's about you, and you've got wonderful years ahead and growth and tremendous runway. So yes, it is about you. But I have found the more that you lead and operate when it's not about you and it's about others, great things happen to you. And we all have challenges. We all have personal strife and elderly care and all kind of things that we go through personally and professionally. But I find individuals who want meaning, who want to have a mentorship, who want to add value, I get behind quickly. And I am honored and humbled by the way we've changed the makeup of our leadership team. And I learned a heck of a lot of that from P&G. And in the retail world, it was pretty much a very male-dominated industry. And, 3 doors down is the future CEO someday of Kroger. And there are other 22 presidents, nearly half under Mary Ellen's leadership are presidents. And guess what? Below that, vice presidents and directors and district managers, women and people of color. We have a mantra, we want to be the community, we want to resemble the community in which we serve. Well, you have to do that in a way that you have leaders from all backgrounds that are leading. And I really take personal pride in ensuring that every leader looks at every individual and what is their unique capabilities that they can be. But it's a two-way street. The individual has to also want to invest the time, the experiences, bloom where you're planted, slow down, as we heard, take on something impossible, make a career shift, all of these things, start a new business model. All of those things will happen. And I find individuals I advocate for, the more they're there for others, then great things happen to them. And I've seen that in 35 years, and I watched leaders show me that it wasn't about me, it was about others.
Very well said. Thank you, Tim. All right, Monica, we have talked about managers, mentors, sponsors. One of the great advantages of the program like Game Changers is that it pairs women with a champion. What role or roles have sponsors played in championing your career?
Well, the reason I'm here, and I've been here throughout the 4 years to actually support it, is because I do believe it takes a village in order for things to change or for us to succeed. And hopefully what you hear from Tim, Jen, myself, and Mary Ellen is that there have been many champions along our career path. So we didn't make it alone. In many ways, we probably were enhanced by individuals who could make us better. And so that's where I'll start. A champion really is somebody who makes you better, not turns you into who they are, but makes you better. And I think I had to learn that in my career. I wasn't going to be them. I just wanted to be the best version of Monica. And in a company where there's certain ways of doing things in particular, and you really are looking for those individuals who allow you to see how you can be that best version in the environment that you're in. Because you really can't be anybody else. And in fact, I think imposter syndrome comes from trying to be something else. So my advice has always been that you have to be first the best version of yourself, and those champions who allow you to do that are the best champions for you. If a champion does not, they're probably not for you. Not that you won't learn things from them, you will. So take what you can learn, but really look for those who actually are looking to understand who you are and what you can be being yourself. I think the second part of champion for me is that I thought Tim said something really important, and I had to learn it in my career. You have to give a little of yourself. I don't know about many of you. I didn't do that all the time. I would give a version of myself to someone. And when I only gave a version of myself, they were never really going to be able to make me my best, because I was leaving things out that they would not know. And if I would have said it, they could then really help me be the best version. So I used to say to people that I had 10 stories, but it was the same story. Because all I did was rinse and repeat. And they really didn't realize I was telling the exact same story 10 different ways. The problem with that is, if I tell the exact same story 10 different ways, they're never really going to be able to get the essence of Monica. So what I would say today to my young self is, it's really okay to share more of yourself so that you can actually have someone else champion you to be your real best version. I'm so thankful now that I had enough people along my journey who actually got to know me personally and really changed how I thought about things. They became my positive narrator, because people look at you from afar and they have lots of opinions about who you are. Doesn't mean that's who you are, but that might be what they see from afar. For me, as a leader, I always needed to be more close connected to people for them to really value who I was. Whether I think that's right or wrong, it doesn't really matter. It's just my environment that I was in. So those champions that actually look at you, enable you to be your best version with you participating, I think has been, for me, the best way to enable me to really be where I am today. I would have never actually envisioned some of the things that happened. So I'd encourage everyone, if you're that person like I was, who's leaving some of yourself hidden, try to think about what would happen if the champion knew you really, and what could that mean for you.
Well, that is so well said, the transparency and the authenticity. Thank you. Mary Ellen, very similar question. In this program, the ladies will be connected with managers, mentors, sponsors, but also peers. So would you mind sharing a little bit more about how peers have played a benefit and a value in your career journey?
So, first of all, that was super insightful, Monica. Thanks for that. And all are super important. Mentors, sponsors, and peers, and to embrace all of that, because I completely agree with Monica. It does take a village. We don't do this alone personally or professionally, and you have to embrace the village. And I've been super blessed to have great peers. One is right here on this panel. I mean, Tim Massa is fantastic. And I think we should just give him a round of applause. Because he is a wonderful peer for me and so many others. But a leader, and all that you've heard on this panel is really not even doing it justice for the impact that he has made at Kroger, P&G, and so many people. So thank you, Tim. You mean the world to me and have touched so many people. So I'm super fortunate to have a peer like Tim who I go to and ask questions. And also, it's important with a peer to embrace feedback, real feedback. And Tim is a great example of giving it, because you have to find somebody that you can trust that will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because we all have all three, and as difficult it is hard to hear, you need to know all three, the good and the ugly, so you can do something about it. So I think embracing that is important. And a learn I also really had that was impactful is about, you also have to take the initiative and lean into it. Because people will say, hey, I'll help you. But the thing is, and they mean it, but you have to follow up, and you have to take the initiative, and you have to reach out. And this was a real learn for me at a point in my career where I had moved and I was the general manager, now they call site leader of one of our plants in Dallas, and I was having a hard time. The results were not going well, the plant wasn't doing that great, the transition was tough, and a peer that was also a mentor had said, you know, the last time I saw you, you didn't have a neck because I was so stressed out about everything that was happening, and he was like, but you never called me. And I was like, you know what? I didn't call. And it's okay to ask for help. All I needed to do was pick up the phone and say, hey, you know, I'm really struggling. And he would have been on a plane, he would have helped me, he would have done whatever I needed to do, but I didn't make the call. And I have always remembered that, is that it's okay to ask for help. You don't always know the answers, you can't always know the answers, and you have to take the initiative, because he wasn't gonna call me, but he was ready to pick up the phone to help me, but you have to take the initiative, and it's okay to take the initiative and to do that, because we're not gonna know all the answers. There's gonna be good times, bad times, and that's what makes us better, and that's what you have this network, is to support you and help you through the good and the bad, because there's all of the above, but that's what makes it a great experience and makes it rewarding.
So, thanks so much, Mary Ellen. Well said.
If I can, Mary Ellen, I love what you said, and it connects so well to what Monica was talking about. You have to make yourself a little vulnerable sometimes. I think not only to get help you need, and like, have you ever asked someone for help and they've not given it to you? It never, ever happens, right? People are more than happy to help. And when you make yourself just a little bit vulnerable, when we expose ourselves, so many amazing things happen. But that's hard to know and feel and be confident in sometimes earlier in our careers. It's one of the things that I know for me, I wish I knew 15 or 20 years ago, right?
So well said. Thank you, Jen. All right, we are going to wrap up a little bit. So we would love to hear some advice from each of you as they're on their development journey over the next couple months. What advice would you give to the team here around their career, their development, their journey as they look ahead? And we'll start with Tim, if you don't mind.
If someone doesn't give you help, or run away from them. I mean, that's a bad person. Listen, my advice for you would be, and what I've learned in 35 years of messing around in this space with people, listen for understanding. It is so easy, guilty party number one, to listen to defend your position, to listen to argue, to listen to, not the question, but what your response is. But if you're truly listening for understanding in any situation, I guarantee you will lead with empathy and more care than you ever thought you could. Because if you're truly listening for understanding, you'll step back and say, where is this person coming from? Even if you don't agree. So I'd encourage you to do that. That is, as Jen talked about, questions. Mary Ellen and I learn every day from our CEO. He talks in questions, but he's brilliant because he may ask 40 questions, but there's 4 that you really got to filter through. But a great question makes all the difference because you're seeking to understand. Mary Ellen hit on it around asking for help, and no one wanted to go through the pandemic. Imagine being an intern or joining a company during the pandemic or starting a business during the pandemic. I can't imagine. But imagine the George Floyd incident, how senseless and tragic that was. Well, what I learned in that as a white male, sitting on team meetings with all black associates, telling me the trials and tribulations and experiences they went through, I learned that you needed to be authentic and genuine. So this piece of Monica's story told 10 different ways. Be your authentic and genuine self. Find that group of people that's going to embrace you as that genuine and authentic self. And that starts with asking for help. It's a sign of strength. It's not a weakness. folks that don't ask for help, then we're not, are you truly looking at everything? Tied to that, I truly believe that collaboration is the new currency. We have to collaborate with each other. What a golden opportunity for 130 of you. And nearly now, as Pat was telling me, 400 alumni. You're joining a group in this third class. How you collaborate and connect with each other, even if you're starting up a business or you're working at Paycor or Fifth Third or P&G or Kroger, there's similarities, and you can actually learn from small business to bring into your world and vice versa. So collaboration in anything you do not have to have all the answers. Thank goodness those binders are gone. I remember those days. I'd also encourage all of you to create memorable moments in your personal life and your professional life. Research says that your most memorable moments happen in your first 15 to 20 years. All of you can remember the first time you rode a bike. Okay. First time your parents remember the first time you walked, right? Just think back to what your memorable moment is. Think of all the folks you interface with. How are you creating memorable moments for them that they talk about, that they think about, that they bring to life? Since Cheryl said it, and Jen talked about it, slow down and bloom where you are. Bob McDonald, who used to be the CEO at P&G, the piece of advice I took with me from him was standing on the shoulders of others. Anytime you replace somebody, it's very easy to diminish that individual and show that you're the savior, you're the one that's going to take it to the next level. The more you can respect and value what others that have gone before you, and that you're going to stand on their shoulders and you're going to build upon what they did, you in fact will go to greater lengths. And I've learned that through experience of learn from others on standing on their shoulders. So I'd encourage you to think about those things. And one of the things that Mary Ellen and I are trying to drive across our 2,800 stores, and hopefully we'll double that with a planned merger with Albertsons, is experiences and behaviors equal outcomes. And we're learning a lot about that. The experience you create, how you behave, how you lead, equal the kind of outcome that's going to take place. And imagine an environment where you want the outcome to be great. What experiences, memorable moments are you creating? And how are you behaving? As Monica said, everyone is watching you, no matter what role you're in. And how are you leading with values? How are you listening for understanding? And how are you trying to be your true, authentic self? I think if you stick to that compass, you'll be successful in anything you do. And you're not alone. And that's, I'll leave you with my first manager, first leader at P&G, my first day. And I use it every day in my life, consciously or unconsciously. He said, there's nothing you can do that we can't fix. There's no mistake you can make that we can't fix. Just don't lie, cheat, and steal, and you're fine. Pretty simple. Thank you.
Great advice. Thanks so much, Ken. Monica, what do you have to share?
For me, there's probably three things that I would share. The first is what Tim, it's just a reinforcement, particularly for multicultural women, where in some ways, I think it applies to all women, but sometimes uniquely to multicultural women, be the best version of who you are. Be the best version of who you are. And I think for me, being the best version, I hope it also is for you. Learn and grow every single day. Learn and grow every single day, and that's going to actually feed that best version. The second component to that is relationships really do matter. You know, there used to be a day where I said, I don't know if I really need that. But actually, I did need that. But it was authentic relationships that really matter. And authenticity only happens if you give some of yourself to it. So I couldn't do the rinse and repeat. I really needed to form the relationships, and you can see Tim and I to this day, even though he's at Kroger, we have a fond affection for each other that would not have happened if I hadn't given a little bit more of who Monica really is to the relationship to Tim. And that would be all women, I would say that. So for me, relationships do matter. Be a bridge and bring yourself to it. And then the third is invest in someone else. I think I grew the most when I saw my impact on someone else other than myself. It actually allowed me to grow more, but it allowed me to value what that means, and it brought purpose and meaning. And so I always say my best way of actually driving impact is through someone else. So it's not always about me. It's about what I can do for someone else that then makes it bigger than me. So those are the three that I would give, and hopefully that resonates with you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you. Jen.
Yeah, I'd start with know your why. As you think about your career and the journey you're on, you all have lives outside of your jobs, right? So the intersection of why am I here doing what I'm doing in this business endeavor at this moment, what bigger why is it serving in my life? How congruent is it with me as a person overall and where I am at this stage in my life? And if you can't really answer the question well, or in a positive way, think about that. But we've all talked about one of the best ways to develop your career is to deliver outstanding results in the work you're in. So also figure out what is your why for what you're working on. I have the pleasure to work on oral care. And we've decided our why is improving the oral health of Americans, which is pretty abysmal, pretty bad, and impacts whole body health and a whole bunch of other things. So one of the things that really inspires me is I get to see our organization all around the world now working on this objective is how inspired they are by this vision to improve oral health outcomes and improve people's lives by doing something different than what's been done before. Not just selling more things to people that already believe oral care is really important, but to break through to others. And when I have the opportunity to see what someone's working on to figure out a better way to advertise or a better way to present the shelf at Kroger to help someone find that best toothpaste for them, or to figure out how to make our lines run better in the manufacturing plant or our products even safer, it's so inspiring to me. And so all of the messages that, Tim really summed it up so well of it's about other people. When you have the ability to see what they're doing to support and enable them, the inspiration, the fuel it gives you to keep going, to want to be better, to do better, to me is just the powerful motivator. And what it does is it allows you to have the courage you need to pursue those big goals, to do the things that no one's accomplished before. For me, if you get those ingredients right, you can do amazing things and you can have amazing impact on people and create a legacy, but also be enabled and realize you can learn from anyone, anywhere in the organization, and don't underestimate the ability you have for those who are looking up to you and following in your footsteps, right? And the peer mentorships. I mean, there's value from every single person's unique experience and point of view that we could all learn from. If you can hold those things together, we'll have a lot of fun along the way, too.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jen.
So two things are top of mind for me. One, professionally, is that as your business, if you're an entrepreneur, continues to grow, or your career continues to grow, your team will grow. And really keeping the thoughtful of passion for people and the passion for results. Because it's always to step back and make sure that you're looking at both of, we have to have the passion for results, that's what business is about, but the passion for people at the same time, because you only achieve those results through teamwork and through the people and through developing and investing in that team. So that's just something, especially as you progress, to just always step back and reflect on, is giving it both the passion for people and the passion results. The other part is on the personal side. I often get asked about work-life balance because I am in this, fortunate to have this role. I travel a lot. I'm fortunate to have a husband, Heath, of 24 years, and I have an 8-year-old son, Miles. And so I'm often asked about work-life balance. And first of all, I reject the term balance, because that implies that it's all neat and tidy and everything is all balanced and equal. And in my experience, is anything but that. And so first of all, embracing the fact that it's not going to be nice and tidy and equal, and every day is going to be different, and some days you're working more, and some days then you have to make time to be there for that event for your family, whatever that is for you, and that is okay. My advice of that is, do not compare yourself, especially in this world of social media and all of these. That's what this community is so important, is to have support, to not compare yourself. You have to be the best version of you and what's right for you and what's right for your family. I don't work Rodney's schedule, our CEO, and that's okay. I don't work Tim's schedule. I don't work other schedule, and that is okay. You can still be effective. You can still have a family and a career, but you can't be all places at the same time. You have to have support and make choices and be okay with those choices, but not compare yourself, and do what's right for you and your family, and that's okay. And then there's some days where I get it wrong, and you step back and say, okay, that didn't work, we're gonna do it different tomorrow, and you just start over the next day, and that's okay too. Don't be so hard on yourself, because you can get up and do it again the next day, and have that communication with your family about, is this working for us? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, and that's why we're doing it.
Really great advice. Thank you, Mary Ellen. All right, well, I just wanted to thank Mary Ellen, Jen, Monica, and Tim for your time, your insights, your leadership. We really appreciate everything that we discussed today. So thank you. Let's give the group a round of applause.